Welcome back, minors. My name is Amber Johnston, and I'm a counselor here at Student Wellbeing.
And I'm Tracy Kriegel, and I'm a counselor here at Student Wellbeing. And it's time for your morning cup of joe. Welcome, Missouri S&T first-year students. We are so excited to have had the opportunity to be live at Minor Bash this summer and see so many fresh faces on campus. We welcome you and your families to the Missouri S&T family. We are looking forward to an exciting year of new podcasts and hope you will stay tuned in throughout the year for informative topics that will be timely to your well-being while a student on campus. We are always open to topics and personal stories, so if you have an awe-inspiring story or you'd like to share, please look us up at 204 Norwood Hall. If you have found a personal strategy that has helped you in college, please come forward to share, or if you know a resource that has helped you, feel free to add a link in the notes. Without further ado, let us get down to business.
So let's skip on over and hear what several of our entering first-year students had to say about their thoughts about coming to Missouri S&T.
All right, minors, we're here at our second Minor Bash today, and I am here with Tyler, and I'm going to ask him what excites you most about college. So Tyler, what excites you most about college?
I'd say being able to come and get hands-on experience with stuff to do with engineering, fun, designing stuff and everything, and the design teams.
Fantastic. What makes you most anxious about coming to college?
Coming out of a little town and coming to something like this is a big difference, and that's probably it.
Fantastic. Are there any coping skills you would tell your peers that have been helpful in dealing with that anxiety?
Not that I know of. I just kind of deal with it.
Okay, thanks, Tyler. So I'm here with Abigail, and I'm going to ask her the question of what groups does she look forward to joining here at Missouri S&T, and what does she see herself becoming part of as far as a recognized organization here on campus. So Abigail, what do you look forward to becoming part of here at Missouri S&T?
Well, I'm already part of the Missouri S&T cheerleading squad, so I'm really looking forward to the next season.
Awesome. So what was that like trying out to be a cheerleader here at Missouri S&T?
Honestly, I was really tired, but I had a lot of fun with them. So.
Excellent. So what kind of skills did you use to push through that tiredness and things so you could encourage your peers if they want to become a cheerleader? What would they need to do to push through that?
I think, honestly, just go in with a positive mindset and be encouraging to the people around you as well.
Excellent. So I'm assuming you've been a cheerleader in the past.
Yes, I have. Actually, only for 1 year, but I really enjoyed it a lot, and I found that it was something that made me happy, so I wanted to continue it here in college.
Excellent. Well, thanks for choosing to be a cheerleader on campus. Take care. All right, I'm here with Laura, and I'm going to ask her the question of what time management strategies have you thought about for making yourself successful in college? So, Laura, what time management strategies have you been using?
Well, so far I've always used a planner to make sure what my tasks are, and I try to check that every single day and try to write in it for every single task, and that has really helped make sure I get everything done. And also just try not to procrastinate too much. That's the biggest thing. But
Excellent. So if procrastination has been a problem for you, what have you found that's been successful to motivate yourself?
just realizing how important it is to get the stuff in. That, for me, motivates me. It is important to do your work, so you just got to do it. And it's not as bad as what you think it is, or it's not going to take as long.
Excellent. Thanks for answering that question. One of the things I always want to tell students, if you're struggling with time management or strategies that you need help with, the Student Success Center is wonderful at helping with strategies for time management. And also at Student Success, we do have coaches that help with some of those study strategies as well. So reach out to us or Student Success if you're struggling with those things. All right. Thanks, Laura. All right, I'm here with Cody, and I've got a question for him. So Cody, what is your plan for success at Missouri S&T?
Study engineering and play baseball and hopefully stay on track with those. Just study a lot harder than I did in high school and work hard in the gym and get better at baseball.
Perfect. So if you find yourself struggling, do you know what the resources here are on campus if you start struggling with academics or with athletics?
I'll just go around, maybe ask some teachers for help, go to the administration, and ask around. The best thing you can do is ask questions. It'll get you a lot of help.
Perfect. I love your answer. So we always encourage students, if you're struggling in any areas, always reach out to your professors, exactly like you said. Academic advisor, the Student Success Center is always available, and always your athletic trainer, so your coaches. So always available to you if you ever need assistance. So thanks for participating. All right, I'm here with John, and the next question I'm going to ask is, do you have experience living on a budget or worry about your financial future? So John, any experience living on that budget?
So my experience living on a budget, I've had to pay for my car and all the car expenses, so I've had to save up money for that, and then just have to buy fuel, everything involved with just owning a car. It's pretty expensive, so I have some experience with budgeting.
Perfect. So it sounds like you had to work through that while you've been in high school. Excellent. Perfect. So if people are, needing, assistance, you can always go down to Community Support and Standards, to the office there and speak with a case manager. So I always encourage students, if you're needing assistance, you can always reach out with assistance. There's always lots of scholarships people can apply for if you are needing more assistance. So we always know there's lots of assistance here on campus that people can reach out to. So thanks for answering. So I'm here with Tyler, and the question I'm going to ask him is, what activities will you engage yourself in to keep your well-being on track?
Yeah, well, I plan on being in a lot of study sessions. I know that college is very friend-dependent and, department-dependent. You got to know people, so I plan on connecting with people in my department and really just getting into study sessions with them.
Excellent. Thank you. So just for all you listeners out there listening, if you feel like your well-being is getting off track, don't hesitate to reach out to student well-being here on campus. Don't hesitate to reach out to student health if you find there's a physical health issue or if you're struggling. But always, exactly like Tyler said, reach out to your department. Take part of those lead sessions at Student Success. He is exactly on track. Staying in touch with your professors is so very important. Let them know if you're struggling. Reach out to them. Communicate. That is the key to being successful with your well-being. So thanks so much, Tyler. All right, I'm here with Dylan, and I'm going to ask him the question of, do you feel comfortable asking for help? So Dylan, is that you got an answer for me for that one?
That is a great question. It's always important to ask for help because that's when you know you're going to be competent, knowing what you're doing, and that's when you're safest, and also when you produce your best work because you know that you're able to seek help and that there are others that are experienced and that they can give you wisdom and encouragement as well sometimes, but also wisdom to know how to do the task properly. So it's always good to ask for help in anything.
Absolutely. So if you're struggling, all of you freshmen are going to be living in the dorms. One of the first people that's right there is your resident assistant. So don't be afraid to just knock on their door and say, hey, I need some help if it's dorm related or if it's something you need help with. Send your professor a note and say, hey, I'm struggling with something. Reach out to your academic advisor. They're always willing to help. There's tons of people on this campus that are right there at your disposal. So you've got student well-being, you've got student health. There are so many people that are willing to help you. Student Success is right there to provide lead sessions. So absolutely. So Dylan, you got it. So thanks for helping us today. Okay, so I'm here with Tucker, Cadence, and Tessa. Going to ask them the question of, when you get overwhelmed, what's the coping skill you turn to that makes you feel better? So, who wants to start? All right, Cadence, what's that coping skill you turn to?
I definitely turn to going outside and taking time to just enjoy myself before I have to, turn to my stressful responsibilities.
I would say distractions, normally in the form of video games.
Video gamer.
I like to listen to music to distract myself.
All right, so Tessa's got a good one there. So excellent, guys. Thanks so much. Great coping skills. So if you ever need help figuring out those coping skills, there are so many resources on this campus that can help you with coping skills. Student well-being, we have groups, we have counselors, we have wellness coaches that can help you find those coping skills. So let us know if you need help. Thank you guys for participating in the podcast. All right, so I'm here with Alex, and I'm going to ask her the question, what will you do to make new friends?
I'm planning on joining band this next year, so hopefully I'll get a lot of new band family and friends from that, and I'm also just going to try to put myself out there and go do as many events as I can and just really lean into the experience and have a great time.
Awesome. So I'm assuming you've been in band in the past?
I have, in fact, been in band in the past, and I'm afraid it's my main personality trait now.
So, if you were to give some advice to students coming to campus for the first time, what would you tell them about making friends?
I would probably say just don't be afraid to talk to people because all of the upperclassmen and like students that I've talked to have been so friendly and nice and just willing to any questions you have their answers. So like any fear that you have about talking to them, don't because every single person has just been the greatest.
Fantastic. So, for all you minors, this is your first year here. If you're looking for a way to join a group, there are what we have called on campus peer involvement advisors. So, if you're looking to find a way to join a group, connect with that peer involvement advisor, and they're found over in the Havner Center. So, enjoy the time that you have here on campus, and thanks so much for listening to our podcast. The things we hear our students saying is that they're preparing for change. As entering first-year students and all you seasoned veterans out there can attest to the facts, college brings a lot of change, whether they're emotional, social, financial, and academic.
Right. There's so many adjustments that we have to make when we're coming into college. When we're starting college, there's this super high feeling that students start on. And then same thing when we're ending college, we tend to end on that same high. And there's these mixed emotions of feeling nervous and not knowing anyone and coming to a strange environment, leaving all your friends behind. And the list kind of goes on and on. It's super exciting for so many though. And it's experience of a lifetime, getting to step out on your own for the first time and meet new people and expanding your friend base and growing yourself and for once getting to come home at the time you choose.
I agree, Amber. Those are some pretty intense emotional adjustments. So let's talk about social adjustments. It's important to have social networks in college. We heard from several students that they worried about making friends, or some of them that I interviewed. So here are a few tips on finding a social network. Schedule an appointment today with one of those peer involvement advisors, or check out that student involvement website at involvement@mst.edu. They will meet with you and help you identify an organization that you might like. So there are actually over 200 student organizations at Missouri S&T. That's a lot of organizations.
Yes.
So check out one of those today. I was like amazed when I started working here. There's a barbecue club. There's a dancing club. There's a Spelunking. I can say it right. Spelunking club. There are so many fascinating clubs here on campus. Frisbee golf. Right. I love that team. There's so much fun. There are so many fun guys on that team. I think there's some girls too. So, but yeah, there's so much fun stuff here on campus to do. So.
Well, and on top of that, maybe you're a little nervous of walking into a fresh club and being a freshman and not knowing anybody and walking into a big group of people you don't know. Like that can be intimidating, especially for those of us who are a little introverted. But a lot of these groups have a presence on Discord. So what you can do is when we watch these conversations happen on Discord, it gives us this little bit of feeling of familiarity. And so it might be easier to start there, joining the Discord, kind of keep an eye on what's going on, starting to feel familiar with some of the names and the people that are involved. And then when you walk in, it's not quite as intimidating.
Great suggestion, Amber. So developing relationships with roommates, classmates is a plus as well. So hang out with them in your room, go to the dining hall, spend time in the resident assistant-led activities, join study groups, put yourself out there. If you're dealing with social anxiety, the Student Wellbeing Department has a social confidence group to help you overcome it as well.
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful group.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a Stop Anxiety group and trained counselors to assist if you notice you're feeling uncomfortable. And if your anxiety is preventing you from engaging in class or interacting with others. So don't be afraid to ask for help because we have lots of resources on this campus that can help you with those feelings and emotions that you're having.
And as far as your financial adjustments and adjusting to dealing with the financial stresses of being a college student, you've got to learn to live on a budget and getting a part-time job if you need one and checking out Handshake for campus jobs because sometimes there's listings and stuff on there that for some stuff that might be work well with your schedule. Watch out for credit card scams. And if you opt for a credit card, only have one and keep the goal of a low credit limit and pay it off monthly. I can't tell you how many people that I know got to college and then found out that they had credit for the first time, and then they signed up for credit cards, and then they ended up in massive credit card debt very, very quickly. I know a lot of people that got kind of drug into that. So kind of be mindful of it and say, okay, if I'm gonna get one, I'm gonna kind of watch it and not get myself over my head.
So I think something that I would add there too, Amber, is if you find yourself in financial distress, don't hesitate to reach out to the community support and standards, am I saying that right? Yeah, department, because sometimes they can help people in finding the financial support that they need. There are scholarships that help people. We do have up here at the Student Wellbeing Department, we have a small little food pantry that is wonderful if you're needing, just stopping by for a snack. There's apples, there's oranges, bananas. There's a little pantry where if you want to pick up some soup or some mac and cheese, or just, sometimes there's cereal out there.
Yeah,
there's cereal today. There's just some different little things. But the SDI house, the Student Diversity Initiatives house, they have, a food pantry there, so you can make an appointment with them. So there's a lot of resources here on campus, and the community support and standards, the
Student support and community standards.
They can actually help you if you need resources in the community as well. So there's a lot of resources. So if you're just feeling overwhelmed financially, there's resources on this campus that you can reach out to. So please don't hesitate to do that. So, and one of the last tips that I like to add to is academic adjustments. You might see yourself being competitive for good grades. I think this is a really good one to talk about. We have to find balance here because you'll need to dedicate more study time and prioritizing in college versus high school.
Right. And they're different. They're very, 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 very different. I remember like my freshman year of college, I went in and I had this English class and I was so, I'm a talker, like very much so. So I was like, I've got this, and I went in and I remember my first assignment was I had to define what this one thing was. And so I got 3 different dictionary definitions from 3 different dictionary sites, and I compared and contrasted it, and I put it all out on the paper. And I was like, I thought I had rocked it. It was my first college assignment. I thought I had done it. And I just aced it. And then I got it back and it was a big old fat C. And I had this massive existential crisis of, oh my gosh, how did I get a C on this assignment? And it came down to, we went through months of this. And I would work on these assignments and I worked harder and harder and stayed up later and later. And I kept turning them in and I kept getting C's and I didn't get it. And the difference was she wasn't asking me what all these other people were saying. She wanted my opinion. And I could not understand that because I had been taught through all of high school that my opinion didn't matter.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes what they're looking for is different than what we were looking for in high school. And so there is an adjustment there, and it's realizing that it's just a different point of view.
Yeah. And I think what you said, Amber, if you find yourself getting a grade that you're not expecting, don't hesitate to reach out to the professor and say, what could I have done differently? Is there a different expectation that you have than what I'm used to? Because sometimes we are used to doing things a certain way. I'll share a personal example. When I was in my statistics class, in my undergraduate work, my study group that I was in, it was interesting. We compared what we were doing as far as our study techniques. And I was excelling in the class, and one of the girls in my study group was not excelling. And she couldn't figure out why she was struggling, and I was excelling. Whereas typically in my math classes, I struggled. And it was like, why are you doing well? And then she said, well, why am I not doing well? And so our approaches to the statistics class was different. And what we figured out was my approach to the statistics class was when the professor would write the formulas on the board, he would write them down, and all she would do was copy down what the professor was saying. Well, I was not only visually seeing what the professor was writing, I was writing down what the professor was saying as well.
Oh.
So she was only writing down what he was saying and not hearing and writing at the same time. So many times you have to be listening and visualizing what's happening. So that
Right.
was the key to her success. And so we brought in the study group together what was happening wholly in the room. And so when you're seeing, you also have to hear and see at the same time. And so that
Right.
was the key for her success, because she was only writing down what was being seen.
Right.
And that was her grade significantly improved after she realized she had to listen at the same time of seeing.
Right.
And so sometimes when, there were key pieces to what was happening that she wasn't listening to, and he was saying parts to the formula that were how to solve the problem that he wasn't writing on the board,
Right.
that were critical to solving the statistical problem.
I mean, she was missing
She
it.
was missing that, and so she
Right.
wasn't able to solve the problem. So that's,
Well, and the other piece of that is, like you said, is if she would have stopped and asked the professor what was going on, why, what am I not understanding, or talk to, maybe they have a TA for the group or something like that. That was my mistake, is I kept letting it go
Right.
because I was convinced I just had to work harder.
Right.
Like if I just white knuckled it a little harder, that I would get through it.
Right.
And that was not the case. And so, and for her, it sounds like she was missing this big piece, and that if she would have stopped and just asked somebody or talked to somebody, she would have found out she's missing all this information that was vital.
Yeah.
And if she would have just asked, then she would have gotten that piece.
Right.
But it's hard when we've never had to do that before,
Right.
when it's always just kind of come naturally, and that we've, we're used to being the ones who get the good grades and the ones the teachers call on, and and all that. We're used to that. And then we get into a more competitive environment, and all of a sudden it can shake our idea of who we are as a person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're like in a lecture hall, if you're in 150 people in a lecture hall, that professor may not call on you because they don't see you.
Right.
Whereas if you came from a rural community and there were 15 people in your classroom, your hand may always be seen, or the professor may know you by name, or the teacher may know you by name, but in that 150 lecture hall, they don't know you by name unless you ask the question.
Right.
So I think that's important when you're making these academic adjustments. Put yourself out there, ask a question. Don't let yourself be held back by saying, "Hey, I don't understand something." I think it's very important to just ask the question, send an email, stay after class, come before class, ask the question, ask for office hours, because your professors, they do want you to succeed.
Right. Well, and there's the Student Success Center as well. So some of the professors are a little harder to get a hold of. And so we have the Student Success Center, which has got people who've been through the class before, who've had the same professors, that may understand some things and be able to help you. It's there, it's available. Make use of it.
Right.
This is a different experience than what you've experienced before.
Right, absolutely. So I think, Amber, tell us what those key points to take away were that we talked about today.
Okay, so our key takeaway points are: pace yourself when learning to make these adjustments. Balance your academics, your work, and the fun. Try to make small changes and stick to them. I always say, like, if you try to make changes too big, you're not going to stick to them. It's it's going to end up kind of like those New Year's resolutions by March. Like it's just kind of
just gone.
Yeah. So just little changes one at a time. You need to have experiences beyond the classroom to succeed. So get out there, meet some people, do some socializing to the level that you're comfortable with.
Join the
Budget
design.
your time.
Yeah.
Like that's huge. Time is a very important asset. Connect with peers and faculty. Learning and studying require effort and a willingness to think outside of the box. Prioritize your health and well-being, which is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Remember the little triangle of nutrition, sleep, and water. Like if we don't,
Hydration. So important.
if any of those are off, you're not going to be able to do well. And balance and consistency in your life are key.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I so appreciate all the students and the parents that attended Minor Bash. What was it? The last Minor Bash, this particular Minor Bash, we had 600.
694, I think.
Yeah,
it was.
and that was just all in a family in attendance. So
Right.
students-wise, it was 295 students. And, the first one we had 196 students. So, wow, it's amazing just to see the commitment level of the students. And, that shows that they're academically, they're ready. They're preparing for college. And so this whole, first Minor Bash, that we busted that myth.
Yes.
And on this Minor Bash, we know that our students are preparing for college. And so it's exciting. It's exciting to see how families have wrapped our students in that success.
Right.
And so minors, dig deep, get ready. Success is around the corner.
Well, I'd like to shout out to all of our incoming freshmen and say welcome. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Take care.
For more information about mental health and wellness, contact Student Wellbeing at 204 Norwood Hall. And you can also give us a call at 573-341-4211.
The song Happy Days is brought to us by music from www.free-stock-music.com. You can also add and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook using our handle @S&T Wellbeing.